Nagashimasu. And Zazen, again, if you're not used to sitting in Seiza and or you're on a hard surface, you can feel free to take cross-legged, even a chair, it's fine if necessary. And opportunity to become mindful and clear, both physically and mentally. What's very useful in these mind-body arts is as we change the body, it affects the mind directly. So if you can clear and open the body shape and body structure, that has a direct effect on clearing and opening the mind directly and literally. So there's a common awareness. People know that how you feel affects your body language and your body shape. Feel good, you're open, bright, feel down, affects your body shape, body posture, body language, it's visible from the outside, mind affects the body. That's quite intuitive knowledge, quite intuitive understanding. But what's not given nearly as much press is that it works equally the other way, other direction. Regardless of how you feel, if you change your body shape, you change your body structure, that has a direct effect on the mind and the emotions and the mood. We tend to kind of just think the one way. Mood, our feelings affect our body. It's equally effective, equally powerful the other way. And that's a really good kind of summation and a real good distillation of power of mind-body arts, of why Aikido, Tai Chi, body arts that are really mind-body arts can be so powerfully effective and so transforming, because we're not just trying to change things, not trying to change the mind with the mind, which really can be, it sets up a battle and a friction. What's that saying? You can't lie to a liar, or you can't con a con man. You can't con a con man. It's the same dynamic interaction. There's a real limit or barrier. There's a wall there when the mind is trying to change the mind. So working from a different angle, different avenue, the body, it sneaks into the mind. It's like coming into the mind through the back door, in a sense. So it doesn't set up an immediate friction as working with the mind does. Using your will to control your emotions, your intention, using your will to change yourself, that sets up all kinds of walls and barriers and natural resistance, inner fighting. So going through the body is a kind of a secret hatch, secret door into the physiology, into the unconscious mind, into the surface mind. So that's one of the truly powerful benefits of mind, body arts, that ultimately are intention arts, but we're using our body as the vehicle. So with that theme, don't worry about the mind too much right now. How mindful, how well can you be in your body? How fully can you inhabit your body? How well can you see your body with X-ray vision, X-ray feeling? Enter your body, sink into your body. How well can you inhabit it? How well can you enter into it? How well can you see and feel your body from inside? Just doing that action, just that project, that mission, that action is extremely opening, liberating, changing, transforming physically and mentally. How well can you inhabit the body? How acutely and sensitively can you notice the body, not just the surface, inside? And of course, that includes the movement of the breath. Okay. So one other thing that we'll work on is it's separate from this, but it did remind me of something if you notice that it really clarifies body posture, if you become more mindful, if you directly inhabit the body, there's a self-correcting process that occurs. There's an evolutionary process. There's a clarifying, refining process if you truly inhabit your body. That's the ultimate power of awareness. Awareness is the beginning and the end. Awareness is the main important thing. If you're not aware of something, you can't change it. Whether it's a body thing or a mind thing or an emotional thing, you're not aware of it, it's not going to change. It owns you. So you may have noticed that it really helped open up the posture, it made better posture on the spine. And then whatever you notice, you want to take that into whatever else you do, or simply notice when you lose it, when you go into movement. So I like to take an example of a simple bow, rei. Rei in Japanese is bow, it's also the word for respect. So you might do really good when you're supposed to be doing good posture, like sitting, but that might go out the window as soon as you do a little different movement. So if I just show it from the side, this long length of the spine could remain as you bow. So if I do an example, so this hasn't changed. I've just levered from here, from these hips. What will tend to happen is perhaps curving your body to one degree or another, curving your spine to one degree or another, and maybe tightening the back of your neck. Generally, you want to come right down and stay nice and open. So try that a few times. Again, if you need to come out of Seiza, that's fine. You could do this standing as well. The same problem happens when we're standing is we imagine I'm standing, round it. So keep this open. Let's try this a few times. If I demonstrate that again. So my back stays the same, long and open. Again, bending of the hips until my back is basically flat or parallel to the ground. So try that 2 or 3 times. Notice where and when you lose it. Notice when it degrades, your posture degrades, therefore your energy degrades. So again, your body, something's happening to your body, it's happening to your mind. It's happening to your body, it's happening to your energy system, your energy body. So again, the body affects the mind and vice versa. So if something degrades physically, it's affecting your mind. You're not as clear and sharp mentally as well. So let me know if you have any questions about that. Now, if you don't have any questions about that, and again, you could be doing this standing. So if I do it standing, watch my back, I'm kind of bowing from about mid back up, punching over literally. So I want to keep this the same. So you can continue with this standing if you need to. We can bring some more detail into this that fits into consistently into what we're always working on in all our principles and all our techniques. So there's not going to be anything new here. We're taking this into this bowing process. So everything, it shows really everything is an opportunity to notice when you lose principles. Everything's an opportunity for training and for noticing when you're losing some vital qualities that we want to cultivate. So I mentioned a nice straight spine and keeping that spine straight as you do that bow, but bending from here, not curving from up here. So perhaps you kept your back nice and straight. That's good. Hopefully the back of the neck was also part of that line of the spine. We're always saying we want to include the neck with the line of the spine. Here's an example of that not happening. My back is going to be fairly straight perhaps, but I'm not going to look up this time, not that obvious, but I have this tension in the back of my neck. Perhaps you can see it. So I'm going to include now my neck with my line of spine there. Let me show you a really good example, illustration of what I mean. And you'll want to do this with yourself right after this as well. So my back is straight. My back is pretty straight.
Now, I'm not going to change anything. I'm just going to sit up straight. I'm going to sit up. I'm going to sit up. I'm going to sit up. I'm not going to change anything. I'm not going to change a thing. Notice my chin is up a little bit. My neck was a little bit bent and maybe hardly even, not really even bent, just tight back here. The muscles back here are shortened, not bent a great deal, just shortened. And now you can see it when I sit up, that this was actually deviating from the length and straightness of the spine. This is deviating. It's deviated. So I want to be having all this correct here. Chin is in slightly or down, so the back of the neck is straight. And so everything is the same when I go down. When I come up, let's have a look. But more staying consistent and integrated, right? So when you go down, spine, back is straight. And keep everything exactly the same and come up. Don't change anything and check and see if you're back a little bit. It could be just a little bit. It should be exactly the same. No, they come up. It's exactly the same. Again, you can do that standing or try some sitting and standing. Here, that might look pretty good, but watch when I come up. Look at now my neck and my head when I come up. That's tension. That's quite a bit actually. So I want this nice and connected and long, integrated. I do my bow. I keep my integration. Come up. Same. So try some sitting, standing, or a little bit of both. Let me know if you have any questions or comments with that. There's a couple more details we can get in with this too. This is all the same training, all the same training, right? You're always working on. Usually martial dynamic movements, something as simple, mundane as bowing. Everything is vital, dramatic training. So if you're checking yourself when you come up, have you misaligned things? Again, coming up can kind of reveal that. Maybe you can't notice it when you're down here. If you're pretty good at noticing how you are down here, adjust and correct down here. Okay, now let's refine this a little bit more. As we would refine this more in any other movement. This is the same refinement, same process that we'd be doing in any Aikido movement typically we would do. So maybe your spine, maybe you started with a fairly nice straight, and not just straight, right? Because you can be straight, but rigidly straight. You could be straight, but it's because you're muscularly holding yourself. We don't want that. We want, that's why we say long and open. That creates straightness. Straightness can just be pure tension, and that's not going to be that healthy. Straightness is created by having a long open spine and having that vertical plane that we're always talking about. The head is suspended from above, or the body is hanging vertically from that elastic or the bungee cord. So we don't hold our spine, we open and lengthen our spine, and it becomes straighter, including the neck. So try a couple more with a sitting or standing, where you're not holding your spine tight with your muscles, you're not bracing your spine straight, you're keeping your straightness because of a flow of energy, a flow of intention. Last class, I believe it was even, we're talking about things that Hami no Kamai, keeping good posture, good shape. And I asked you, is this still in move inside, or is there a dynamic flow of energy? It might seem like it's stationary, might seem like it's static. It's not. It's a strong flow of energy. There's a current of life energy directed by the intention. So I'm not making a ramrod straight spine, not even trying to do it with my muscles. I'm just setting the direction of the current of intention. I'm sending a strong current of intention, a river of intention. That is what straightens me and opens me. Then as I do my, if I have that, I start with that, when I do my bow, I just keep doing that. So I don't have to work to keep my back straight. My back is straightened for me and only becomes more and more straight dynamically alive and straight. So if you can get that current going that makes you straight and tall and open, keep that going as you do the so-called bow. You just keep it going, keep it going, keep it going. And if you do that, you will find it'll actually help you sit up much more effortlessly. Maybe coming up, maybe you felt some strain or work in the muscle somewhere in the back, the hips, back, anywhere in the back, neck. Maybe you notice some effort coming up. If you are standing, flowing, having that intentional current, it'll be effortless coming up. You actually come up by the same mechanism and process of lengthening and opening. Lengthening and opening to be nice and tall and correct in posture. Lengthening and opening to cause the movement down. Lengthening and opening to cause the movement to come up. So you see, this is no different than us doing our planking exercises, our Minucci. As I mentioned, exactly the same training process in everything we do. This is no different than doing our planking exercises to lengthen and open the body. And movement is caused by the lengthening, not by the muscular contraction. We're simply doing it in a simple bow. Lengthen, open, energetic current. Keep it flowing, keep it going as you do your bow. And keep it flowing to make you come up. The extension, the lengthening will bring you up like a drawbridge. Let me know if you have any questions or comments about that. Same with standing. Am I tightening, holding in as I do my bow? That's normal, and that's external. The internal arts, exactly the opposite. I lengthen and open to start well, and any movement, I only increase that. In fact, eventually, movement is allowed to happen, movement occurs because of this inner dynamic action. So as I lengthen, then the current of attention, the torrential flow of current allows me to bend and keep nice and integrated and can bring me back up, integrated, complete, whole. Torrential flow, very accurately directed. Now, maybe one or two more things just to challenge your awareness, refine your awareness. Now, especially if you're doing this intentional flow, this energetic current, it tends to correct everything and allow self-correcting to occur. And not always even intellectual, just organically you're corrected. So maybe a lot of things have been cleaned up. But this is something worth checking. Do your shoulders come up? And before we started doing this organic, energetic movement and correction, it probably was happening. For example, if I'm keeping straight with the back muscles, I'm also probably pulling in and up my shoulders and tightening my neck. No doubt that is happening. So again, doing it energetically, coming from inside, intentionally and internally driven, tends to correct a lot of these things, but it's worth checking. Your shoulders should actually be completely sitting down. As we know, when we're sitting and standing, call them sitting shoulders. They're passively sitting right on top of the rib cage. Well, that shouldn't change when you're doing any movement. So are my shoulders staying settled? Or are they popping up or popping forward? They should be sitting nice and relaxed, regardless of the movement. You notice that's a very relaxing, freeing, opening feeling if you can let the shoulders just stay settled and relaxed. Of course, standing, are my shoulders hiking up? Can be almost a countering direction. The more I bend over, the more my shoulders come up, almost like a countering. So shoulders settle down, check that. Much more relaxed. Okay, maybe one more thing to check out. And feel free to let me know and comment if you know some things that were tight and you're able to release or change, something maybe I haven't mentioned yet. But one other main place that we're always talking about shoulders, right? So that's why I brought that in. What's another place we're always talking about? The abdomen. So if we go back to being muscular about it, having technically a nice straight back, but I'm being muscular, I mentioned no doubt you're going to be tight in the shoulders and the neck, probably pulling them up. And no doubt you're going to tighten only more, even more, as you go into movement. You start it tight and you just tighten into the action. So notice what happens with your abdomen. Shoulders down. Abdomen can be released and soft. If releasing your abdomen curtails your ability to go lower into a bow, that's okay. Don't round your back. So if it seems to be some sort of physical obstacle keeping you from going totally flat when you release the belly, as long as the main thing is your back is straight. Open and lengthens the straightness. So check your shoulders, check your abdomen. Keep streaming through your spine. Okay, comments and questions about that process?
So Sensei, I noticed that the lengthening is quite an interesting, very similar to doing plank work. It creates a lot of the movement for you, but bringing the abdomen in, while that made the hinging easier, I seem to lose the lengthening, or perhaps it's more accurate to say the sense of releasing the abdomen meant that more subtle perception of the lengthening kind of went away.
Okay. So that's a very subtle awareness. So that's really good. So what I'm going to suggest is, because I'm going through that in my mind, I can see that happening. And it can also be kind of a dispersing out of energy, kind of a flattening. So as you release the abdomen, send that release of energy, give it very precise direction, which is the same direction we've been doing with the spine. So you just get more directive with that action and with really the release of the energy of that action. So let me give you an obvious example of what I mean by releasing the abdomen that might cause things to disperse. So I might start really good, and not sure what angle would be best to see that here. So if I really let this go, that might allow me to splat like a big toad. You give that release of energy direction, a release, and so even just from here, when I release my abdomen, it made me taller. That won't necessarily happen on its own. You make the connection, you make the energetic gears. So by releasing my abdomen, might be best to start doing it just sitting. Great. As I release my abdomen consciously even more than what it is now, I can have that have a direct effect to make me taller and lengthen more. If I don't do that, just releasing the abdomen might just allow me to flat out. So you can actually, I just found out now, you can do it just sitting here. If I release the abdomen even more than what it is, I can direct that releasing process to open and straighten me and lengthen me even more. And so as I release the abdomen, I just send that through my spine, through my crown. So this was another opportunity. This comment was another opportunity to get specific and to bring out this ability and this principle and skill to direct our energy, direct every process that we do. Even a physical releasing of the belly, we can give that an intentional vector, a mental direction that will affect and change the body, affect and change your personal atmosphere. Let me put this in a slightly martial, well, actually extremely martial context, because I think it in a very dynamic, dramatic way illustrates it. It's a very different context, but it illustrates what I mean by being able to direct anything and everything. And that's why they're called intentional arts. They're intentional arts. It's all about not controlling, in a sense, the word is often used, but corralling, cultivating. It's like guiding a river. I mentioned torrential flow and all that. Guiding a river, you can guide physical release, energetic movement. So let's put this in a very kind of acute and martial context. Let's say you've just been surprised on the street by a mugger. He's just jumped out from the back alley. It's dark at night, and he's just surprised you, and you just go into stark terror. And it just caught you at the right time or the wrong time, the right place in your life where it just totally freaks you out. And your mind has spun out with fear and terror. So that's the energy kind of going flat in the sense that your energy just splinters. Now, you don't have to become not afraid, because that would just be a lie. And again, the mind trying to control the brain trying to fight the brain, which is a fight and a resistance, because the reality is your physiology is you're frightened. You're hyper frightened. Everything's on red alert. And for your mind to go, okay, calm down, relax, that's just a fight, and that's just a battle. It's not going to cause real change. But with all this fear, all this energy splintered and scattered, I can give a mental direction and send all my fear, anxiousness, terror, and give it a direction. Now, what do you think is going to happen? Something's going to happen. Rather than, oh my goodness, and literally your fear totally controls you, and they don't beat you. You've been splintered and shattered because of your own fear, and they're just taking advantage of that. So the fear is just an energy flavor, energy color, energy quality. So it doesn't matter if it's the abdomen physically, the release of the abdomen energetically, doesn't matter if it's fear. Whatever it is, you can give it a directional current, a directional vector. You even start craving fear. When you develop the intention, mind-body connection and intention, you can give whatever it is a direction. Can you imagine all that energy now given to one direction? That mugger. That's going to be effective. And it had nothing to do with you have to be calm and mentally good. No, it's not necessary. Reminds me of a saying I once heard, putting in a little bit more gentler context now, but similar. Let's say you're really anxious about to go on stage or something and do a performance, whatever. You're very, very, very nervous. So a phrase I heard one time that totally illustrates this as well in a nice, a little bit more poetic way, colorful way. Get your butterflies in formation. Get your butterflies in formation. What a wonderful way to put that. So that kind of sums up everything that we've been doing. We've been doing it in a physical way, in a movement way. I explained a very dramatic, intense, fear, incredible, out of sort, splintered, or just kind of a more normal everyday anxiety or kind of peaked anxiety, nervousness, uptightness, weight upper side. You can't make yourself be perfect. You can't even make yourself relax, but you can put those butterflies in formation, especially if you've been training your mind and your body to work together. You've been training intention, and these arts are often called intention art. Any questions or comments about that?
Brad, can you put that into action, please? I hear your words and I understand what you're saying, but I can't see how to put that into action. Can you talk that fear into the action that gets your intention, that gathers up your energy and gives it intention?
So we'll go back to that example of the mugger.
Yeah.
If you go into just fear, and because you go into normal, natural fear, and you stay with just normal, natural fear, then what happens next
is going to be determined by that mugger.
That's right.
So you don't have to make yourself be calm and good and this perfect being. You just have to direct and focus all that you're feeling, everything you're feeling. Give it a direction.
Okay.
Give it a direction.
And you can do that, we can do that through our upper body and lower body movement. Is that what you're saying?
No, it becomes natural. You do it through the training that we've been doing now.
Okay.
And the body responds to that directional intention. Right now, the body is subtly, gently responding to my spine opens, it lengthens. Perhaps you felt that. And if not, that's fine because it's a mind-body development. It takes time to develop these things. But eventually you'll feel that it opens the spine, releases the abdomen, become more open, more spacious. So we get a chance to work these in very kind of soft and safe environments. It's changing the body. So if you have a strong directional intention forward, you send all that fear forward. So what I want to ask you, so I'm not going really specific right now for a reason. I want to ask you, I'm asking you right now,
Okay.
if you were totally out of your mind with fear and you were able to, maybe, again, this is a skill, as I mentioned, but if you were able to, a certain degree, take all that fear that had frozen you,
Mhm.
if you were to give that a strong direction, let's say forward, just a direction, what do you think could happen or would happen?
That
Give it a
gives,
strong direction.
yeah, that gives, now I'm in control and whoever's in front of me is confused and probably is going to back off because now I have something.
Yeah, see, I want to say exactly, something's going to happen. That's why I put it that way. Something's going to happen and it's going to be different than what that person had in mind, the mugger.
Okay, gotcha.
I'm purposely staying away from, oh, you go into Minucci. I mean, it'd be easy to say, if you have some training, you go into Minucci, maybe a strike, you can go into a ready stand. I don't want to go there because that's relying on form. That's relying on technique.
And you want us to rely on energy, the direction of energy.
Well, that's the source of everything, and
Yeah.
that's the essence of everything. So, for example, let's say I go into a ready stance. I'm going to jump into a ready stance because I have enough training to know I got to go into a ready stance. So let's say I've been totally shocked,
Mhm.
totally to the point where I'm just kind of, really out of sorts. They caught me at just the right time. I'm totally shocked and surprised. But I have enough training to go into a ready stance. So here I go. I'm going to go into a ready stance.
Yeah. I get you.
It's empty. So you might, even if it looks better, so I'm going to go into a better ready stance. And this won't be as obvious. Certain people with more training, you might be able to see this. I'm going to go into a good ready stance. But it's still empty or fragile or brittle.
I see the brittleness. Yeah.
Yeah. Where you can have a ready stance that's full of intent, full of spirit, or throw the ready stance out. Standing. You don't need a ready stance. You have all this training that we do a ready stance to train the mind and the energy. And then you don't need a ready stance.
It's just in your body. Yeah.
It's in your mind and your energy.
Yeah.
So on a very, very simple level, we hold our hands here, ready stance. Just the way we hold our sword. Can you see the triangular action of the sword? And so when we don't have the weapon, that's why we use weapons as a tool. So when we don't have the weapon, our body is our mind's tool. Our body's our mind. But you see the same shape? You see that triangular shape? The triangular shape doesn't matter, but right now it's important. What's important about the triangular shape?
There's energy and focus.
Exactly. It gives your energy a direction.
Yeah. It's not out here, it's here.
Exactly. And it can be fear.
you're still able to put it into formation. So this is just being able to get your mind and your energy and your body into a shape. And then also into movement.
No, I get
And
it.
we're about to run out of time. So I'm glad that came up, Marlene. So
Thank
that's
you.
an important touch point. So we're getting clear about this.
Yeah.
Okay, let's wind down with some nice, soft, open breathing. Expand your body because you're expanding your mind and energy. Settle your body because you're settling your mind and energy. Okay, let's bow up.